to say it because it's so amazing. My lady who does my malpractice, my lawyer's malpractice insurance, she's in another state and all type of stuff, but she's from Kansas City. And so it's funny that whenever I'm talking to her, she's like, so about them G's. I'm like, yep, yep. So we got to talk about that over our, payment this month. So it's everybody loves the Chiefs. You guys, well, not everybody, some people, whatever, but I love the Chiefs. I'm so excited about them and for them. All right, we are live and ready now. So, are you all ready for some smart money news and business reviews? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mary, you chime right on in there, ma'am. You all, hello. My name is Valencia Broadus. I am a real estate plan probate attorney here in the area. And I'm happy to bring two of our other business leaders here with us and they'll introduce themselves in just a moment. I will not forget to do that up front this time. And we also have, hello there, we also have two of our business reviewers with us today. You all already met one of them a couple of weeks ago, Miss Denaya. She'll come back and talk more. But we have an awesome, no, stay with us, there you go. But we have another awesome young lady with us today, Miss Mary Martz, and she is an emerging entrepreneur and homeowner. And she, has got some thoughts of how she's going to make her dreams come true in 2023. So I wanted her to come and she will introduce herself in a little bit as well. So if we can, business leaders on deck. If you don't mind, Mr. Alfred, I'm gonna say ladies first. Miss Bree, kind of tell us who you be.
Well, who I be? Hello, everyone. My name is Bree Logan. I am a realtor licensed in Missouri and Kansas with Remax Elite, the best. Let's go Remax, Remax. And really just here to, mingle and learn a lot from the other professionals and the business reviewers on here. And I'm just excited, y'all. I'm just excited.
That's good stuff. Thank you, Miss Bree. Mr. Alfred Jordan, tell us about you. I mean, I know you got books behind you, so we know you're smart, but tell us more about you.
Hi, my name is Alfred Jordan, and I'm the owner of Jordan Law LLC. I'm a business lawyer, and so mainly what I deal with is mergers and acquisitions, businesses buying and selling other businesses, entity formation. So whether you want to start a corporation or a limited liability company, that kind of thing. Generally, most kinds of contracts as well. I also do some commercial real estate transactions and some financing for my business clients because those are things that they need, real estate and financing as well.
So before I go to our business reviewers, stitches, you said that last week also, Mr. Alfred. You said the financing. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more of what that could entail? If I needed to buy something, how could you help me?
Yeah, so when the bank sends its, depending on the size of the loan, they may have a credit agreement, which kind of outlines the relationship between you and the bank, what kind of covenants you have to keep, what kind of, financial covenants you have to keep, what's your, debt to assets ratio, those kind of things. And also the negative covenant piece where you can't go out and go get more debt and put that above them, or maybe you can't change the place where you are because they want to know that the assets are in a certain place, right? They have you their collateral secured potentially, and they want to know where it is. And there's other agreements that come with that. The agreements to make sure that they have the rights to a security agreement to make sure they have the rights to the collateral, those kind of things. And so I can take a look. I mean, so the bank has their documents, and if you want an attorney to look at it from your perspective, that's generally what I can help with, looking at the credit agreement, looking at the security agreement, looking at the promissory notes, that kind of thing, looking at the guarantee, because sometimes they want the owner to be on the hook for it as well. So that kind of stuff.
Doing a personal guarantee or something.
Yep.
Thank you. And the reason I wanted to, I was going to ask it last week, but then we ran out of time. And I was like, okay, what's he mean by that? Because one of our, of course, I know Miss Bree probably has some thoughts there about all that. We'll come back later for her, and she does real estate. But I know that one of our business reviewers, today, Miss Mary, is interested in, I mean, certain businesses and stuff, and some of those types of things later could come into play. And so, talking with you, Miss Mary, I definitely wanted to, at least for the types of businesses you want, those are things later that, that financing piece you'd have to look into. So, if you will, for now, please, Miss Mary, introduce yourself and tell, us how you became involved with the Financial Empowerment Network, please.
Thank you for having me, first of all. I really appreciate this opportunity to meet everybody and learn new skills. So my name is Mary, Mary Martz, and I came across the Financial Empowerment Group through a gentleman named Bercy Lark. He was, I was given information about I'm trying to remember what it was called, like a learning, an event basically for educational purposes to help others learn how to own a home or create generational wealth. There were like 5 different classes that were being taught at this event, and Mr. Versi Lark was teaching the one about how to create generational wealth. And you could sign up for, like, I think it was 3 out of the 5 classes for this event, and I went to his class. And at the end, whenever he was finished, I asked him, I was like, are there any mentor programs that you offer? Something that could help me open the doors to learning this new information. And that's when he introduced me to the Financial Empowerment Group. And I'm really grateful that he did, because I've learned a lot of things along the way so far.
Excellent. And coming into the group, where there, well, not even, so you came into the group, of course, I remember you came in and all that and you talked. Are there, of the 6 transactions, and I will mention them today, everyone, of the 6 transactions, of course, we have owning a home, owning a profitable business, building your credit, monitoring and building your credit, having insurance, doing a trust and a will, and insurance. Is that the 6, y'all? Did I miss something? Or did I repeat? I should know that, right? Okay. Owning a home, owning a profitable business, insurance, building your credit, saving and investing. That's what it was. And then, of course, monitoring your credit. And so, of those 6, were there 1 or 2, Miss Mary, that you were particularly interested in when you first came to the group? Do you recall?
Yeah, saving and investing, definitely. I feel like I've been in a lot of situations in life where I've definitely needed to have some money saved, and thankfully I did. So that helped in, those emergency situations that we talk about, that we want to make sure that we have funds put back for those, so that you're not pulling, or you're not running your pockets dry. Also, credit building is something that I am deeply passionate about with me, because when I was in my 20s, I made a lot of financial mistakes that, I had no knowledge or guidance when it came to finances. So as I got older and I was learning things the hard way on my own, I didn't realize how important credit was. And I didn't realize the opportunities that it could give you. So now I'm moving into I'm in my 30s. And so now I'm playing the catch-up game of cleaning up the mistakes from the financial mistakes I made prior to my 30s. And I'm looking forward to being a business owner one day. And, so before I can do that, before I can run a profitable business, I have to make sure that I have my own finances together. So building that credit that can open that door for business opportunities in the future is something, two of the things that I would love to own a home one day as well. So, of course, who doesn't want to own their dream home?
Yes, yes. So she hit 3 transactions, y'all. That's one. No, but thank you. I know you came definitely with 1 you were focused on, and then through learning, it's like, but I can maybe get a couple before 2023. Sometimes it isn't about getting them, it's about moving on a path. I'm going to come back to you, Mary, if you'll allow me. Miss Denia, I just want to say greetings to you, business lady. I know you had a busy week last week. Talk to us, update us on how business went for you last week and what you got coming up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Denai Malvia. And the last time I was here, I talked a bit about my business, Denai's Delectable Desserts. I wasn't here last week because we had, it was Valentine's Day, and I was making a lot of different, like, Valentine's Day tree boxes, and that was, like, really hectic. But we got all of them out, so that was good. And got a lot of good reviews back. Next up, I'm just, I sell, of course, like 24/7, but I'm thinking of like another sale coming up, or maybe something for St. Patrick's Day, just to kind of get people in the spirit, or Easter. So just kind of thinking about that. But yeah, so far everything's going pretty good.
Yes, treats are always in style, y'all. Sweets and treats and sweets and treats.
For sure.
Yes, and one of the things that we were asking Mr. Ali when you both were on the show a few weeks back, and we asked him a little bit more last week, so people wanted to know a little bit more about you. What really got you into like dreaming about owning a business?
For me, it was really just like my love for cooking, and it kind of led to like wanting to make money doing it. Like I just always loved like baking and cooking with like my mom and like my family and everything. So when my mom came to me, well, no, really, we were watching the show and these girls had a cupcake business, and I said it was so cool. And my mom was like, "Well, we can do that." And I was like, "Really?" I was like 10, so I didn't really think that was like, it seems like it just takes so much to do something like that when it's really just kind of will and getting everything together. So she was like, "Yeah." So that following January, we started up Denia's Lovely Cupcakes, and it was Denia's Lovely Cupcakes for the first 5 years, and I just rebranded 2 years ago to Denia's Delectable Desserts. So it was really my mom and just like loving cooking, and then I was like, well, that might be my profession when I get older, so it's kind of added to it.
Just having that support. And so, Miss Bree, I can see you have a question. And Mr. Alfred, if you have a question too, talk to us, both of you as well, our business leaders, and then we're going to come back and talk to, of course, business reviewers. We're going to ask you more questions about your journey.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Bree.
You got it, Mr. Alfred. I went first last time.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in on something she said, and I thought it was just, really profound, especially at her age. She said, it seemed like it was going to be so hard, but really it's just a will. And that is a thing that, I guess, cannot be taught. Everybody has to just really kind of just do it for themselves. And if you really want it, I was just reading a quote that somebody posted on LinkedIn, and I'll probably mess it up, but it was about Steve Jobs saying, if it's something you're passionate about, nobody will have to push you towards it. The vision will pull you towards it. And so she talking about her will to do it is really the key. It's cliche. Where there's a will, there's a way, but it's true. And so I just thought that was great that she said that. And I just wanted to single in on that part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Bree. Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Alfred.
ma'am. So one thing that really another thing that resonated out of many things that Ms. Denia said was having that support and really having someone who's willing to kind of take that step, to take that path with you. Ms. Denia, can I ask, in your opinion, how important did you feel like that was ultimately in making this decision and starting your business with your mom having your back? Like, no question.
Oh, yes. I came to, of course, appreciate it more at like my age now, but then it just kind of felt like me and my mom were baking, like how we did every Christmas. So it's just kind of like, yeah, when I go to school, I'm like, yeah, it's just me and my mom were baking. Like it didn't seem like, of course, like I just said, like it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. But like growing up and like now doing it more on my own, like you come to appreciate having somebody to fall back on. Oh, I couldn't get an order done, so my mom did it while I was at school. Oh, I can't, like, having the support was definitely very helpful. And then it just kind of gave a learning experience too, to want to tell people that, and to want to help other people that might need other help. So it was just pretty cool.
See, that was just
thank
big
you.
for me. Yeah.
Big.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please. No, go ahead, Miss Bree. Finish, and then I'll
I mean, that just, it really resonated with me because, you, as we all know, as business owners, a lot of people, they invest a lot of money into having someone that's going to give them that backing and everything else. So when you do have someone's taking that time to feed into you and everything else, it's just really nice to see. It's really nice to see.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'll come back to Miss Mary because I know you have some business ownership dreams. And I think that definitely based on, not based on, but kind of flowing into what Mr. Naya was saying, and then as Miss Bree, Mr. Alfred, myself, most business owners, sometimes we have a support system out there. And sometimes you can't really see them all the time. Like they might not be right in the law office with me or, in the station with me or something. But there are people that are supporting and pouring in, to us. And so wanted to, Miss Mary, kind of you giving your thoughts on how important you think, finding that support system will be for you and starting your business dreams. Because again, you can share what you want or not about it, but I think in general, that support system, what type of help do you think you will need and that your community can help provide for you?
Absolutely. I definitely think that support systems are necessary for many reasons. Definitely on the mental health aspect of things, having someone to help relieve that load of that mental burden, just to be encouraging, on days that are really, really hard. And because there are days where we all feel defeated and we all feel like we want to give up, but having that support system that's like, no, you got this, like you can do this. I believe in you. We believe in you. We see the vision at the end of the tunnel. We're going to get there. So having people that have that same mentality and surrounding yourself by those people, I believe is extremely important, especially it's vital if you want to be successful in life, because, who you surround yourself by is kind of who you're going to end up mirroring, if that makes sense. I heard something, I was reading something a while back ago, and it was like, if you're hanging out with 5 rich people, you're going to be the 6th rich person because you're going to be learning how they got there. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not surround myself with the rich people, but just the people who have that growth mindset for success. Yes. So having that support system is extremely important to me because it'll just help that positive morale to keep going.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Because I was thinking from kind of the coaching, aspect of how do we make sure that whoever it is that we're working with, how do we help connect them based on the dream they have? Like who connected you, Miss Bree? Who connected me? You, Mr. Alfred, and you, Miss Denaya. It could have been, parents, friends. We could have just seen an absolutely fabulous realtor making money. Like I want to do that. But then how did we go and do more to make it happen? And so kind of taking those steps. And I know Miss Mary and I, we've been talking a little bit about how do we help her to what her dreams are, starting to do some planning, visioning, seeing it and looking at the location, all stuff of where it could be and how it could happen. And then we ended up coming back to the thought of that sounds amazing. I think I need to probably make sure personally that I'm strong. And if you don't mind, Mary, talk a little bit about that. And then I would love for each of us to follow up with our own thought of that personal foundational piece being strong before we jump into business. Because you hit it, Mary, when you told me that. You're like, so go ahead, please talk to it.
Yeah, so Miss Valencia and I were talking the other day, and she was asking me what I was doing to start this process of owning a business. And I was just very honest with her and frank and was like, well, personally, I need to make sure that my mental and emotional health are okay before I can go forward with any transaction of any type of business. And I need to make sure that my own personal finances are okay first. I've been, you know, I grew up in poverty, and everything I've accomplished, I've pretty much done by myself with the help of others here and there, you know, learning along the way. Um, but as I stated earlier, I made mistakes in my 20s that now financially I'm facing those repercussions now in my 30s. So I have to learn what those skills, for financial skills, in order for me to move forward with a business. So right now for me, I'm working on mental and emotional health and learning how to create a budget for myself so that I can utilize and see, okay, what's going out? What do I have coming in financially? What can I put back in savings? And then what can I put towards investing? So right now, a personal goal for me is learning to create a budget. Um, I know that right now tax season's coming up, so everybody's getting excited for that. And a lot of people are going to go on crazy shopping sprees, but I was like, okay, what can I do that's going to help me create, um, longevity wise, a good financial decision? So I was like, okay, when I get my taxes this year, something that I'm going to personally do is make sure that I pay 6 months of my rent in advance. That way, so I'm saving that extra money each month and putting that back. And that opens up another window of opportunity to make sure that, one, I have something set back for emergency situations. Two, I can make sure that I don't have to worry about my rent. That's one less thing that I'm going to stress and worry about. So that relieves some of that mental and emotional stress so that I can put my energy and focus towards something else that's going to be more productive towards getting me on that path of where I need to go to become a business owner one day. But it starts with that personal growth and development first overall, because
good.
if
You're great.
you can't run a successful business if you don't have it together.
I got you. I'm gonna stop you there for a second because I have two questions just for the group. And as Miss Mary talked about that mental health side, I know we all were smiling. We're doing great today. Do you have stressful days running your businesses? Mr. Naya, let's start with you because you just had a big event. So let's talk about, do you have stress sometimes?
Yes, for sure. It's because with baking, it's not always like 100% sure that everything's gonna go perfect for one. Like whether it's switching baking soda with baking powder, it could be a problem there. So it's just kind of like really kind of going with the flow when it's a stressful day and making sure to have all your ducks in a row. Like if you have 8 orders and you have like 5 things to go in each box, it's best to count out how much of everything you actually need first. Like because it can be stressful really quick because it's just
That
a lot
planning.
when you're making a bulk order. But to deal with it, I usually just put on my music and just get started because you just got to start. If you just sulk about it, you're just getting your head. So
And the what you do, thank you, was what I was going to ask because that's a big piece in life and in business, especially. What do we do? Mr. Alfred, you have stressful days in business.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean,
He says, yeah.
yeah, sometimes it can be people, and sometimes it can be just having but more often just having a ton of work to do. And so, I mean, I think the best thing for me is just to plan and to get ahead of things while if I have some downtime instead of, taking it as downtime. If I know I got a transaction closing the next week, I better be putting together a checklist and starting to knock stuff off and doing what I have to do through the weekend so that I don't have a crazy day and not be able to close my transaction the next week. So I think planning helps alleviate the stress from that perspective.
Don't procrastinate. That's really what I heard you say. Planning, and doing and doing. And Miss Bree, you have stressful days at work sometimes?
Yes, ma'am. I have stressful days often at work. I don't know if I'm gonna share this. I've had stressful moments where I have called Miss V. So when she was talking about those people that are in your circle, you know, you don't always see them or not. Miss V has been an amazing asset to me, especially on those stressful days and on the beautiful ones too. So
Oh,
yes.
yes. And no, and thank you. And I have stressful days too. And sometimes it's because um sometimes an unfortunate situation like Miss Denaya and I know Miss Bree, as more and more people are buying the houses, Mr. Alfred, more deals are happening. Sometimes we get too much work. And so you got to make sure from a quality control perspective we want all the work to come in. That sounds wonderful. But then when it comes, can you really, really handle it? And sometimes you can get so much, not have everything in place to handle it. And then not only does it stress you out, but it could definitely cause, you to have challenges with customers because they still have an expectation. And any type of like the food businesses and stuff like that, especially, I definitely, think about when customers are in there, want to make it happen, want to eat some good food, we need to do that. But the reason, thank you, I wanted to really ask everyone what they do is because owning your own business, it's stressful by nature because you're your own employer. You have to not only make the product, so perform the activity that you're either the product or the service you're selling. You have to market it. You have to do the billing for it. You have to, if you have lots of people, you have to manage folks and all of that. And I say it just because there's these systems, and the more that we can help each other to have better operational systems for whatever our business is, then it kind of, I won't say it takes the stress away, but it makes it all kind of manageable. It's that, what do you do to calm yourself in the crisis? Because it will pass. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, but mental health is important. And I know often in big corporations, when our employees, we get stressed or something, they have they have IEP plans. Is it IEP? They have the plans, or basically with your insurance, you can go and like see the mental health person or something that's kind of assigned to your company part of your insurance plan. Often as a entrepreneur, especially a solo, sometimes we may not have that luxury of those types of insurances to sometimes first take a mental break day. Often if you're working for someone 9 to 5, you can take a day off, take a mental break day. Often when you're the owner of the business, you don't have that luxury. So like Mr. Alfred talked about music, doing things, and I thought it was you, Mr. Alfred, yes. And Miss Bree doing music, doing things. And no, and Miss Denaya. Somebody said doing music. So I'm looking at everybody. But definitely doing some of that. And of course, everyone, listening, it's not about scaring us. It's about the reality. Because owning your own business, it can be profitable, it can be wonderful, all of that. But we don't want to not tell about some of the challenging parts too, because then we're setting you up to think everything's hunky dory. And some days it ain't hunky dory. But what do we do when it's a hunky dory? You know what I mean? So, all right. So let's think about. So that's the mental health side. Anyone want to do a comment on that before I'm gonna move to the financial personal finance side? Miss Bree, you ever thought?
The first thing that comes to mind, even as you were talking, is "Nothing Will Dim the Light That Shines from Inside," that shines from within, by Miss Maya Angelou. So as long as you're focused on, shining your light as bright as you possibly can, the business will come and the stress will melt away.
The business will come for real. I mean, I'm sorry, come, Mr. Alfred.
Yeah, I mean, just from a mental health and kind of stress reliever, I like to go for a run. It's when I do some of my best thinking, and it's a huge stress reliever. And like even when I was working at a farm downtown, I couldn't go for a run, but I would be like, if it got really hectic, I would be out there in my dress shoes, walking around the block, go up the street, and that just being outside, and that helps me. So everybody has their
Amen.
thing, like the music that was said, and everybody has their thing that can help kind of get some of that off your back a little bit.
Yes, that's self-care stuff. And even non-work stuff, y'all. I mean, y'all know it's just we don't talk about it a lot. And so, and thank you really, Miss Mary, for bringing that up, because I think I've talked with a couple of people around the country, just friends, when the U.S. Senator Fetterman, remember he had a stroke, and then but he still ran the race and he won and everything. And most recently, within the past week, he personally himself, put him not put, but admitted himself into a hospital for clinical depression, and that was important because that's depression. It's a mental health piece, and sometimes we're afraid or ashamed to say that I'm depressed or something's wrong with me. There have been days I've been depressed, and yes, I'll just kind of go to sleep. I'll get up, I'll exercise it out and do the music thing and all that and get back up. But some days it could be too much if we're not careful, if we don't address it and talk to people. And I know there's self-help, which is all sorts of stuff. But I wanted to talk about that with business owners because we did a study. Well, that's not true. We read a lot of articles last year regarding businesses and depression and stress, and then we brought a lady in to give us resources that business owners could use if they felt stressed or needed medical care. So we did not do the study. We actually there was some studies, and stress among entrepreneurs is really, really, really high. And they get really sick. And then if you're an entrepreneur running your own business and you're getting sick all the time, then who's giving out the good product of what you started with? So I want to just mention that again, everyone listening, we're not saying to scare people. It's more of this is what it is. So we're just trying to be real and talk about, these are things that happen, but getting up and, for me, I meditate and pray and music, and all that, and get up and get my coffee and read. And then I do my top 10 of the day checklist, like Mr. Alfred said. I do all of that and bring back, bring forward yesterday, bring forward today from what I didn't do yesterday, all that type of stuff. It's only so I can have some type of organization in my life. And so those are things, Miss Mary, that we'll talk about later as we'll keep doing some of the coaching. But it's a lot. Miss Bree or Miss Mary. Somebody was going to say something. You guys are good.
Well, I mean, just to kind of piggyback a little bit with what you were saying. I don't know, Ms. Mary, did you have something to add in there?
Yes, Miss Mary.
No, I apologize. I thought my internet was cutting out, so I was about to. It went.
He was like, "Hey, y'all!"
I'm out there for a second, so I was making sure that I could still hear you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Well, something that was really good, Ms. V, and you helped me with these, is as I've learned being an entrepreneur and, traveling the journey of, owning my business and building it and everything else, I found that there's a lot of self-finding in it, things that I didn't know about myself, and even more so kind of strengthening the things that were much weaker because I was put in moments where I had to be stronger. One thing that has really helped me in specifics is journaling every day. I have a specific focus that I'm doing right now where I'm doing 7 days of claiming. I like to title things. Like I like to give a word to the day or like a word to the year. So my word for the year is gratitude. And my saying is, if it doesn't feed my soul, I'm not doing it. Right. So as I'm doing this journaling and I'm taking this time, I kind of actually, I structure it as if it's a conversation between me and God. So I'm legit having conversations with him as I'm writing, like, but did you know you did this kind of thing? But it's some way where I'm kind of finding me through having that conversation with him and just really establishing this finding myself and really growing on my strengths. So just with all that you were saying as far as the prayer and stuff like that has really helped me because entrepreneurship is a very finding journey. Very much so.
Mr. Alfred's laughing. You do, because you find out if you're strong or weak. I mean, you find out a lot. Please, Mr. Alfred, share with us your thought.
Well, I was just going to go back to one thing where we talked about the support and encouragement. I was going to pump up Miss V some more because I remember when we were out doing the career kitchen and I was wondering, I was like, oh, I always wanted to do my own business. And I was like, I'm going to do it. But I wonder, will I have the business, this and that? Miss V was like, you can do it. And this is the amount you should charge and everything. And she was very encouraging and supportive. I appreciate that. And that was helpful. I mean, I wanted to do it and I was going to do it, but having that vote of confidence was extremely helpful. And it's appreciated. Yep.
No, you are welcome. We appreciate you, Mr. Alfred, because you've always been, even before, that is helping, encourage other people. And it's really great when we can, and I say this with all seriousness, you all, when you can charge for what you do and you're worth it. So, and I'm always really serious about that. No, y'all should, charge only because at the end of the day we got to eat. And so I know Miss Mary and I, we talked way back, one of our first shows, that we had been talking about, like, sometimes when we're out here, doing work and stuff, and we want to give back or help in some way, but because we don't have sometimes the finances that we want to go out and give and everything, we can't, really help when we want to. And sometimes that happens because we give away all that we have, for free. When Miss Denaya, all that great bacon cooking you did, you give it all away for free, you'd make no money, right? People would love your desserts. Don't give it, you know, and so finding a way to understand our value and what we have to share with the world. All of us have something, whether we're working a 9 to 5 or doing our own business or writing books. So we all have something of value. God, He puts that in us. He wants us to, I mean, I'm not, trying to tell people what God said, but for me, I believe He has that for us, and we have things to give, and we all have our gifts, and your gifts will make a way for you, but He does want us to have faith and works, so that planning and all that stuff, faith that works is there. This is not a church show, so I just want everybody, but that's just what I believe, so I want to share how I try to handle my business. But that's that piece, if we can just all do the best that we can to do our work, plan it, make sure that it's something that is needed, because they always say necessity is the mother of invention, is something. And I never really understood that until it's like, what is needed out there? What is really needed out there? And sometimes we don't know. We have it. Who needs what I got? A lot of people need what I have. People need what you have, Miss Bree. They need what you have, Mr. Alfred, and they need what you have, Mr. Naya. And Miss Mary, we haven't said it yet, and we will on another show. People, they need what you have, but you have to, write it out in a mini business plan at first. Make sure that people need what you have, because then they will come, as long as you can market and show them what you have, which is a whole other part of your business plan. So those are things that for people with initial ideas and stuff, we try to really make sure that you have a dream, but how do we help it to come to fruition, and things like that. So I'm going to talk for a moment. Well, I'm not going to talk. Miss Mary is going to talk a little bit more, and then we will assist in this conversation about the whole the personal finance and credit thing, so that we can fund our business. And one of the things that Mr. Whitney and Mr. Gerald Johnson, they talked a lot to us about you don't have to use your own money all the time to start and do these businesses. And I did it wrong at first, so I can only say that I use my own money, but I'm trying not to do that anymore. So Miss Mary, you and I talked a little bit about some things that you could begin to work on, so that you get in position to use other people's money for your business dream. And I've talked about credit for sure. And what's anything you want to share about your path you're wanting to focus on to be able to get that financing stuff, which is why what Mr. Alfred said was important, because that financing piece is critical.
Well, yeah, I would definitely, for me, again, with the financial journey, first things first, I know, I didn't know, well, I didn't realize that with good credit, you could utilize the bank's funding to support your dreams for your own business. Like, I didn't realize, like I was saying, how many opportunities that door really does open, and that really I wouldn't have to really invest much of my own income that I've again worked very hard to save over a long period of time, a short. And that's something I've thought about. Like, okay, I've planned it out. So like if I work this many hours, I should expect this much income. I can put back this much. And if I do this over this span of time, then I should have this amount of money saved to invest into this future property or whatnot. But something I've also keep reminding myself is, okay, Mary, if you build that credit, that personal credit first, then you can establish the next step, which is the business credit. Now, I am a whole rookie to this game of financial literacy, and I'm really excited because I know my goal is to create generational wealth for my children and then my children's children and so on and so forth. And I just want to help the community in certain ways too. I have some amazing business ideas that I think could really be helpful to this community here in Kansas City. But like we stated, I definitely have to get the personal credit down so that I can gain that business credit aspect of things and then move forward from there. I do apologize. I think my internet might be cutting out.
Okay, it's okay.
For
I think what's happened, it happened to me sometimes when I was on, where I am, it was being weird to me. So I'm going to come back to you. Okay, Miss Mary, is that okay?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm going to come back to you. So stay with us.
You're cutting out. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. So I'm going to come back to you there. I see. I'm going to come back to you in just a moment because I wanted you to start that conversation for us, because I think what you had already shared with me. Oh, amen. Thank you, Ms. Bree. Yeah, she's using the chat. That's funny. I'm like, who did that? That's you all will learn. I am not a social technological person. What happened there? Thank you, Ms. Bree. What I wanted to, and thank you, Ms. Mary, for starting that conversation, because then we talked with Miss Denaya a little bit more about she's going to be going to school soon, and you all, listeners, everyone may remember that a couple of weeks back we had talked about if Miss Denaya wanted to, that she may not have to stop doing her business while she's in school, because it really will give her more income. And so just like with Miss Mary, definitely with Miss Denaya and anyone else, here, help. We want to, kind of coach and talk with everyone about how to begin to get more in position, now, so that you can get, business loans, whether it's through the SBA, like Mr. Ali did, or it could be banks you already have. They often have business loans, but how do we help everyone to get in position based on what you need? And I think that that's something that Miss Mary, you and I will talk more about. And Miss Denaya, I know that we didn't bother you much about that last week. What do you think? Is that something you'd be even interested in a little bit, Miss Denaya?
Yes, I have been thinking a lot about it, and we're talking to my mom about it and everything like that. And yeah, I've been thinking more about it, and it seems like a good move. But I want to get of course all my ducks in a row and stuff like that first before, so we do have a good foundation and it's not gonna just crumble and everything. So yeah, I've been talking to my mom more about it and thinking about reaching about and stuff like that. So yeah.
No, excellent. And the great thing is you have some months before school, and as I know, remember Mr. Ali, because again, things, apples aren't apples, and apples and oranges as far as people's individual situations and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know that the SBA, they are, and banks too, all around. I work with Mr. Eccles, a gentleman, and he's works with different banks who are very interested in giving small business owners loans and stuff. But it is about getting the ducks in a row, and so bringing individuals and their criteria and stuff to the table more, talking more here of what do people need to help you based on your goals and dreams, and seeing what we can help make happen. That's what this is all about. And of course, we got this awesome business attorney over here that can, if we get some stuff going, great, Because Miss Denai, wouldn't it be amazing before you went away to school and all your ducks were in a row, meaning you and family did all that great stuff, and you have this building or something over here, and you have enough loans so that you could definitely, manage only from an hour away in Lawrence. You could just manage,
Mm.
Your site here. People could cook and do everything, and you could be making all this money. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? That's all I'm saying. So, but if you got a building or the loans, Mr. Alfred could help us to, we can hire him to help us and stuff. But it's really possible. I guess that's the main thing I always want people to know here on this show. It's possible for all of us. And Miss Bree, I mean, she can help us to find the buildings. Miss Bree, talk to us about real estate. What's happening in the world today?
I mean,
Commercial and residential.
well, that's the great news about things is real estate is still exchanging hands. People are still buying and they're still selling even with the interest rates in play. The positive things is to know that the banks are always going to be in business to loan. Well, they're going to be in business by loaning money. So they want to keep loaning money. So as interest rates are increasing, you have a lot more deals that deals and programs that banks put in place for people to still be able to obtain their properties. So it's always about just having the proper communication with the right people. That means it's a realtor that has your best interest in mind. And then, having a conversation with a lender to see what is available for you. All too often I run into instances where people are like, I want to wait. Sometimes it is good to wait. So I don't want to discourage anyone from that. But I've had it a lot of times where people have been able to be pre-approved just by having that conversation with that lender. So taking that first step by step, I think it was something you were saying, it's like just moving forward, really, like Ms. Denai said, and Ms. V said, and just moving confidently in your decisions. But real estate is always moving, and I can absolutely always find you or help, not always, but I can help you find a space.
No, that is good. And before, I'm going to make sure that we share that Mr. Walker is going to come and talk with us as soon as he is available about KUAW.org, which of course stands for Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. And so, Mr. Walker, if you can, or Ms. Paris, share with us about KUAW and some of the awesome programs and where people can find you or find us too. He says, we're going to come right back to them because I know he said 10-minute warning. So I knew we were getting close. Mr. Alfred, talk to us, please.
I just wanted to ask Bree real quick. So do you do residential and commercial?
Yes, sir. I'm heavier on the residential, but I have done commercial leases and property acquisitions.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Science. So making connections here, y'all. And a big thing we're trying to, find ways to, of course, the business leaders, will work with each other, but we're really here without us having, our business reviewers and leaders and not just that, but the other transactions too. If someone wants, of course, buy a home, Ms. Bree can help. Someone needs, estate planning, wills and trust, powers of attorneys, all of that, I can help. If people on the other law side, of course, you're owning that business and you need to make sure that you not only have, of course, marketing plans and stuff like that, but you've got to, buy the real estate. You want to maybe acquire a business, a franchise or anything. There's restaurants out here. Things are opening back up. So you never know what you can buy. Mr. Alfred can help with things like that. With insurance, we have Mr. Voya and some others that can assist us in making sure that we're looking at proper insurances, whether it's, health, auto, long-term care, stuff like that. Business insurance as well. And then, of course, I'm saving and investing. Mr. Brian Ross, he'll come. He's going to be coming next week, you guys, to talk with us, saving and investing. So I'm really, really excited about that because I want to hear about that market, hear what is going on, what should I be doing or not? Because there was an article that came out. I think that was Yahoo News, but I read a couple days ago, and it said the market is weird, like what's happening. So basically, this article was talking about that even though people want to say we're in a recession, but it's like lots and lots of people are working. The jobs report was amazing. Your rates are going down. So like, what's going on? Well, reading the articles, it basically was, and I read several, I sent them to Miss Bree. It was saying that even though, yes, it looks crazy for the high income earners, like the real high ones, but not for just your everyday person. The jobs are plentiful. People are working. People are getting a couple of jobs. And that's why the money is still moving and flowing around, because they kept saying if people aren't working, the jobs report says, yes, we are. But it's those real high paying jobs where they were saying people are being laid off and stuff. So be, I was like, okay. So it's weird. But anyway, Mr. Darrell Johnson from With Business Credit. He's going to be coming to talk with us again next week. So he'll be back. So I just want to share that we've got some good stuff, and we're going to be getting definitely all of us more. But Miss Mary will help you focus on getting in touch with Mr. Whitney Morgan, talking with him about just the personal credit side, like what can he help with? And again, yes, business leaders, our services cost, but we want to make sure that people know that you don't have to buy anything. We just want you to do your research, figure out what's out there and what's happening, and save your dollars if it's something you need to buy, or do research, do it yourself. Mr. Walker, can you tell us about KUAW.org? I will pause if you're ready, or Miss Paris, so people will know where to find us. Hello.
You tell it to play KUAW, and you can pick us up there. So thank you for listening. Be sure and join us every week for smart money, business, news, and reviews.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. We love that jazz voice. Mr. Alfred, talk to us for a second, please.
I was just gonna throw something out there for Miss Mary to consider. She was talking about paying, and everybody's gonna do this. The best way is for them. But she was talking about paying her rent for 6 months, and I don't know how much her rent is, but let's say it's $1,000 a month. She's gonna pay up six grand. She could also put that in like an emergency fund with the high yield interest rate, which is, mine right now, my high yield is like 3.5%. I think they have some that are even up to 4. So, if you put that 6,000 away at 3% interest, it's not a whole bunch, but it's $20 a money, $20 a month. So you end up with 120 extra bucks for nothing but just letting it sit there for those 6 months. So it's just something to consider.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you got to pay it
see.
down every month, but you got to pay some of it, but the part that's there,
She can
be
do
earning
that.
interest.
No, I agree. See, the internet was going out,
Yep.
so we're going to follow back up and talk about some of those tips. One of the things that we try to do is we always try to go back and review, of course, the last week's show before the coming Monday. So that's often how we bring different people forward and ask the different, leaders to come back and talk to us and stuff. And so we'll be definitely coming back to talk about, that's why that saving and investing will be important, because kind of hearing more of the ways to take those dollars, because Mr. Whitney had mentioned taxes are coming in for people. So when you mentioned it, Miss Mir, we were talking, I'm like, were you listening to the show? And I know you were actually, you listened to, several of them as we've been talking, but it's like the money's coming. What are we going to do with it? We're going to invest in it. What we're going to make happen, and how can we make it, as Mr. Alfred was saying, so it's going to really give you some extra dollars that you didn't have before. So you all, I know we are running out of time, but I want to say, please join us again next week. If you guys will, we've got some great guests coming back on. Mr. Naya, it's always great to see you. I'm excited about your journey, and so about school and everything. Miss Mary, thank you for joining us today. We're going to just have you come back, a couple of weeks to just hear a little bit more update, if you will. We want to see what you've been up to. Miss Bree, hello there, and we need to go look at some real estate. I mean, it's better again, you guys. So that's exciting to me. That's exciting. And Mr. Alfred, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Mr. Walker, Miss Paris, Mr. Jeffrey, Miss Dara, Miss Heaven, the whole crew. I just really want to tell you guys, thank you all for what you guys do to let us be on the platform. So God bless you all. Have a great, great, great week. And what about them Chiefs?
That's right.
Peace.